Hello learners, and in this video we're going to be looking at how we can expand brackets when using algebra and how they can use that to simplify. So hopefully you know what the terms are: simplifying, like terms, etc., and expanding. We're also going to be looking closely at the distributive law and how to use the distributive law to expand. So that might be our first question as we get to it here, and hopefully you remember what the distributive law is. But it allows us to expand brackets to make expressions easier. So visually, sort of what that looks like in algebraic terms is that 8 times in brackets b plus c is the same as saying a times b plus a times c. Okay, and if we looked at that visually, like for an example down here, you know, we can see this all the time, particularly in sort of if we're working with maps or etc. or blueprints. If we know that finding the area of a rectangle, it is length times width, etc. So in this case, we know that we would get the same answer if we had a times b plus c, as well as if we worked out the area of this one, which is a times b plus a times c. And so by expanding that, we can help simplify our expressions, and we're going to look into that a bit more simply. So in simple terms, without the mumbo jumbo, basically all you need to do is, when we're doing this, is that you multiply the number on the outside of the brackets with each of the terms on the inside of the brackets to expand it. And that way we can then move from there. So let's have a look at examples. And you're going to write these two things down first, and this gives us the idea of how we expand using distributive law. So firstly, to expand, as I've said, you multiply the number on the inside of the brackets with the number on the outside of the brackets, and we'll look at this here, and then finally you simplify the results. So let's look at an example to make it a bit more sense. So here I have 3 on the outside of the brackets, and I'm going to multiply that with the numbers on the inside. So what we've done is we've expanded and we've broken away from these brackets, which helps us connect our like terms. So in this case we have 3 in brackets 2x plus 5. Terrible drawing there, apologise. Now what we want to do is multiply the number on the outside, which is 3, by 2, and then add 3 by 5. So what that looks like is 3 by 2 equals 6x, and the pronumeral comes along with it. Then I bring the plus down, and then I'm timesing 3 by 5. Okay, so what I've done there is I've broken away from the brackets and I've expanded that expression into 3 in brackets 2x plus 5 is the same as 6x plus 15, and we can actually work with this a bit easier and move on from there. Now when we're using negative numbers, the same thing applies. Hopefully you've understood our integers topic before. So here we're multiplying the number on the outside with the numbers on the inside. So here I have negative 8 times 7 plus negative 8 times 2y. Okay, and we're working with a negative and a positive here, which means the result will be a negative. So negative 8 times 7 will give us negative 56 plus negative 8 times 2. Again, it's a negative times a positive, which gives us a negative number, which will give us negative 16y. And then I can simply combine and form my like terms. Okay, I've got a positive and a negative here, which is the same as saying negative 56 minus 16y. So I've expanded the brackets and broken it down. Now what happens when you need to multiply a number with a pronumeral, and you're just adding that pronumeral in as well. So this question here basically is saying 4x times 2 and minus 4x times y. So I have 4x times 2 minus 4x times y, and then we can combine our like terms. Okay, so we've got 2 and 4, so that means 8x, minus 4xy. We can use algebra conventions there, which just means 4xy. Okay, so what we've done there, we've just simply shown you how we can break it apart and then continue. Now what happens when we get sort of extended ones? We add in basically one more step to that process. So sometimes when we get difficult expressions, we all need to expand it, and then at the end we combine our like terms. So we're adding in an extra step here. So we expand the brackets, you simplify the result, and then you combine your like terms. So in the previous examples, we've just expanded the brackets. Now let's see what happens when we need to combine the like terms. So what I've got here, I have 3, and I'll do my distributive law first part here. So I have 3 times 2b plus 3 times 5 plus 3b. So you can see I've got each of these sort of terms that I've had to break out. And if I put brackets around it, maybe that might make it easier for you to visualize that. So now that I've done that, I can just combine from there. So I'll complete each part. So 3 times 2b will give us 6b, plus 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3b. Now what we have here is that we've got an extended expression, and I can just combine my like terms as we've done in a previous video about how adding and subtracting like terms. So I've got these like terms here, so 6b plus 3b, so I can combine them, which would give me 9b plus 15. Okay, we're not answering, we're not solving or anything, we're just using our algebra understanding to expand and simplify and combine. Now what would that look like again if we're using a bit more pro numerals? We sort of just need to add some in here. So here we have 12xy plus, and I can see I've got 7x, and I'm going to do everything in the brackets here. So let's have 7x times 2 minus 7x times y. Okay, so I can just go through each step here. But 12xy will stay the same, plus in brackets here 7x times 2 will be 14x, minus 7x times y will give me 7xy. So now I can go through and I can look for my like terms, and I can see that I have like terms here. Okay, and I've got a negative. Remember, I want to add that term in, so I'll move them to the front for visuals here. So 12xy minus 7xy plus 14x, and I can combine these because they are like terms. 12 minus 7 gives us 5xy plus 14x. So it can look very confusing, but all we're really doing is breaking apart the brackets, we're expanding those, and then we can go back to previous parts where we just need to combine and simplify those terms. So any questions that you need to write down or anything you don't understand, again, as always, please make sure you write that down so we can help you when we need to, and we'll understand again what the distributive law and that part of breaking and expanding those brackets and then combining and simplifying from there. Thanks guys.